The Arctic is the northernmost region of the Earth, a vast and frozen wilderness that covers about 1/6 of the planet's surface. It is home to diverse ecosystems and unique cultures, as well as a rich source of natural resources. But the Arctic is also one of the most vulnerable places to climate change, as it is warming faster than any other part of the world. In 2023, the Arctic experienced its hottest summer on record, with temperatures reaching their highest point since 1900. This unprecedented heatwave had devastating consequences for the region and the rest of the world, as it triggered massive wildfires, melting glaciers, shrinking sea ice, and rising sea levels. In this video, we will explore the causes and effects of the Arctic warming and the challenges and opportunities it poses for the future of humanity and the planet. The Arctic warming is mainly driven by two factors: the increase in greenhouse gas emissions from human activities and the feedback loops that amplify the warming in the region. Greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane, trap heat in the atmosphere and raise the global average temperature. The Arctic is more sensitive to this warming than other regions because of its high albedo, or reflectivity. The Arctic is covered by snow and ice, which reflect most of the incoming solar radiation back to space, keeping the region cool. However, as the snow and ice melt, they expose darker surfaces such as land and water, which absorb more heat and accelerate the melting. This creates a positive feedback loop, where more warming leads to more melting and more melting leads to more warming. Another feedback loop involves the release of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, from the thawing permafrost. Permafrost is the frozen layer of soil and organic matter that covers about a quarter of the northern hemisphere's land area. It stores large amounts of carbon, which is released as methane when the permafrost thaws. Methane has a much stronger warming effect than carbon dioxide and can further increase the temperature in the Arctic and the globe. The Arctic warming has profound impacts on the region's environment and wildlife, as well as the people who live there. One of the most visible effects is the decline of the Arctic sea ice, which is the frozen layer of seawater that floats on the Arctic Ocean. Sea ice plays a crucial role in regulating the climate, as it reflects solar radiation, moderates the ocean currents, and provides habitat for many species. Sea ice also has cultural and economic significance for the indigenous peoples of the Arctic, who depend on it for hunting, fishing, and transportation. However, the Arctic sea ice has been shrinking rapidly in recent decades, reaching its lowest extent on record in September 2023. The sea ice loss has serious consequences for the Arctic ecosystem, as it reduces the availability of food and shelter for animals such as polar bears, seals, walruses, and whales. It also exposes the region to more human activities, such as shipping, tourism, and oil and gas exploration, which can pose threats to the wildlife and the environment. Another effect of the Arctic warming is the melting of the glaciers and ice caps, which are the large masses of ice that cover the land. Glaciers and ice caps store huge amounts of fresh water and act as natural reservoirs that supply water to many parts of the world. They also influence the sea level, as the water they release adds to the volume of the oceans. However, the glaciers and ice caps in the Arctic are melting faster than ever, as they are exposed to higher temperatures and less snowfall. According to a recent study, the Arctic glaciers and ice caps lost about 1.3 trillion tons of ice between 2003 and 2019, equivalent to the weight of 10 billion elephants. The melting of the glaciers and ice caps contributes to the rise of the sea level, which can have devastating effects on coastal communities and low-lying islands around the world. Sea level rise can cause flooding, erosion, saltwater intrusion, and displacement of millions of people. The Arctic warming also affects the weather and climate patterns in other regions of the world, as it disrupts the balance of the atmospheric and oceanic circulation. One of the key features of the global climate system is the jet stream, which is a fast-moving current of air that flows around the northern hemisphere. The jet stream is driven by the temperature difference between the cold Arctic and the warm tropics, and acts as a boundary between different air masses. The jet stream influences the weather in many areas, as it steers the storms and the winds that bring rain, snow, and heat. However, The Arctic warming reduces the temperature difference between the poles and the equator and weakens the jet stream. This makes the jet stream more wavy and erratic and allows it to dip further south or north than usual. This can result in extreme weather events such as heat waves, droughts, floods, and cold snaps in different parts of the world. For example, in February 2023, a sudden plunge of the jet stream brought frigid air from the Arctic to the United States, causing a historic winter storm that affected millions of people and left many without power and water. The Arctic warming poses a great challenge for the future of humanity and the planet, as it threatens the stability of the climate system and the survival of many species. However, it also offers some opportunities for cooperation and innovation, as it opens up new possibilities for scientific research, economic development, and cultural exchange. The Arctic is a region of immense potential, as it holds vast reserves of natural resources such as oil, gas, minerals, and fish. It also offers new routes for trade and transportation, as the melting sea ice creates shortcuts between Asia, Europe, and North America. Moreover, the Arctic is a source of inspiration and knowledge, as it showcases the beauty and diversity of nature and the wisdom and resilience of the indigenous peoples. The Arctic is a vital part of the Earth, and its fate is intertwined with ours. The Arctic warming is a wake-up call for the world, as it shows the urgency and the magnitude of the climate crisis. It also calls for a collective and coordinated response, as it requires the collaboration and the commitment of all the stakeholders, from the local to the global level. The Arctic is a common heritage and a shared responsibility, and we must act now to protect it and preserve it for the present and the future generations.